We all love the sound of money, and a $1,500 sign-on bonus sounds even better. That's right, Bellisio Foods of Jackson is offering a $1,500 sign-on bonus to new employees. Receive an extra $100 your first 6 weeks, then $400 after day 90, and $500 after day 180. Don't wait. Apply online at BellicioFoods.com/careers today. That's BellicioFoods.com/careers. Come work for a company who truly values their employees. Come work for Bellicio Foods.
Remember it.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. Of course, Jennifer here to start off your morning with our good friend Pete Wilson in the house.
On a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday, strangely enough, doing the morning news update. Well, we had a guest yesterday, and we had a lot of fun talking about Bellisio and all of the neat things that they do there, and of course, the hiring event that they have coming up. I think it's this Friday. So we got to hear all about that. So Pete gave up his chair so sweetly and decided he would come back today.
Right. Well, there's always news happening, and so we just piled a little bit more up for you.
I know. I was going to say, so it gave you an extra day to come up with another, 100,000 news stories.
Right. Well, there's a lot, so we'll get right to it. On Sunday, late Sunday afternoon and into Sunday evening, we had a fatality-related accident unfold on U.S. Route 35, actually in Ross County, but very close to Jackson County. And that is honestly a fairly graphic picture that we're showing you. It was a submitted photo from a photographer who wanted to contribute, but didn't want credit or anything. So, but they were obviously at the scene to take this picture. And what you see there, if you're watching on TV right now on our monitor, you see to the left there, you see the back of a semi that was hauling logs.
Yes.
On the right,
Wow.
you have a large van, large passenger van there, and the van struck the back of the log truck.
Oh, man.
It happened on U.S. Route 35 at Limerick Road, not the Limerick Road in Jackson County, but the Limerick Road in Ross County, which is not too far from the Jackson County line. I'd say within a mile or two.
Yeah, like really close.
Right. And so it did not involve any persons from the county, neither the truck driver nor the driver of the van. The driver of the van was from Michigan. His name was Ivan Flores Helbrin, age 50, and he was life flighted from the scene, but died in a Columbus hospital as a result of that horrible collision.
So sad.
His wife was in the car or in the van. She suffered minor injuries, was taken to Adena. The driver of the log truck was not injured, but this was a rear end failure to provide assured clear distance type accident. The log truck was in the right hand lane, making a turn on the Limerick Road, obviously was slowing to do that big rig, and the van hit it from behind. Apparently, you didn't see in time to go around or wasn't able to go around, maybe because of traffic. Don't know.
Yeah.
But it was a rear end type wreck. Now, it affected the locals a lot because there's a lot of traffic on that road.
Yes.
That is eastbound heading towards Jackson County. And so a lot of folks got caught up, when the road was closed.
Sure.
Patrol said the road was closed for a couple hours. It may have actually been more than that. The wreck itself was at 4:24 p.m., but I know deep into the evening, the highway was closed there, east to eastbound traffic. And so, they had to clean that all up as well as conduct the investigation. But a patrol spokesman said, quote, "Drivers are reminded to focus on the roadway and avoid distractions when driving."
Correct.
And so the crash does remain under investigation, but unfortunately, a gentleman from Michigan lost his life.
That's so sad.
In that wreck. You just have to be so careful out there.
You do.
A lot of big trucks on that road, changing lanes, turning off, turning in. You just have to be very vigilant. We don't know all the circumstances of that wreck beyond the basics of what
Well,
happened there.
that's why they're doing the big deal at the rest area there, Pete, because of that very reason.
Right. There's been that rest stop, by the way, probably within 3 miles of this fatality-related scene.
Sure.
And, when you're driving that direction, either to or from Columbus, Chillicothe, whatever, driving to or back towards Jackson, you see that construction going on, which will go on throughout the summer. But what's happening there, if you need reminded or you've forgotten, they're putting in acceleration and de-acceleration lanes there.
For that very reason.
Right, so that when you're turning
Yes.
off of a highway into the rest stop, you have a lane to get into.
Yes.
And same when you're entering the highway from the rest stop, both sides of the road.
Mm.
All right, so
that.
that will be going on. All right, last night, this is fairly fresh news. This comes from our associate editor, Phil Buffington. There was a meeting last night of the Wellston City Board of Education, and a couple major hirings took place. Jenny Jenkins Sizemore, who has been a first grade teacher in the Wellston City School District, there she is right there. She happens to be the daughter of board member Betty Jenkins, well known in Wellston. But Jenny Jenkins Sizemore is stepping up into the role of Bundy Elementary principal. So she goes from the classroom into the principal's office.
Cool.
So congratulations to her.
Yeah.
And of course, this affects another person, Dana Eberts, who has been the principal at Bundy Elementary School for some time.
Mm-hmm.
She is now the new Director of Curriculum and Instruction / Federal Programs Coordinator. Very important central administration job. She will be transitioning into that job starting in the new school year. She will be replacing, Dana will be replacing Brandy Cupp, who had that position before. I don't believe Brandy is no longer with the district.
Okay.
So this was at the board meeting last night. Phil was there. We'll have more than one news story coming out of that. And backtracking back to the story about the fatality-related wreck on 35, we've already got that on our website if you want to check that out.
Okay.
Also, we shared that to Facebook as well. We thought it was important to get that information out. A lot of people wanted to know what happened, didn't want you to have to wait for the news. And that's why we have the website, to get some of those stories out there quicker. You don't have to wait for the print edition. Of
Also
course,
keep you from getting stuck in traffic as well.
right, that story will be in the print edition prominently as well tomorrow in our Wednesday paper. All right, some other things to report. This comes from the Jackson County Common Pleas Courtroom, a 3-day jury trial that was scheduled for this week. It was supposed to start on Monday and perhaps go through Wednesday.
Okay.
It was canceled at the last minute because of a plea deal. And the young defendant, Gage Hook of Wellston, accepted a plea deal in the face of 3 fourth-degree felony counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor or corruption of a minor. He has decided to take a plea deal. He had been indicted back on April the 8th by a grand jury for alleged crimes that were said to have taken place between January 27th and February 12th of this year, so fairly recent alleged crimes.
Wow.
According to the indictment, the 3 counts involve a minor older than 13 but younger than 16. Hook was a member of the 2002 Wellston High School graduating class, or was supposed to have been. He was incarcerated before the ceremony took place. His name was on the class list in the graduation program, but his name was not called. So
The 22
right, he had been a senior at Wellston High School.
this year.
Right,
Okay. Wow.
exactly.
Oh.
So, he was represented by Gene Meadows as his defense attorney. The plea hearing is currently set for August 12th at 10:45 a.m. in the Jackson County Common Pleas Courtroom. So we will see what happens there. But once again, a trial was to have taken place Monday through this Wednesday, canceled because of the young defendant decided to accept a plea deal. We know there's lots of interest in this case because it involves a young man who was a student at Wellston High School with the alleged victim being another student, perhaps. All right, we have some. This was reported in our Saturday paper. The state of Ohio, through the Ohio Department of Development, we've talked about this on television, but we've got some more particulars for you now. Dumped $500,000 on Jackson County $499,000 on Benton County for demolition work.
We'll take it.
This is exactly. This is and this is all money indirectly, at least, coming through the federal government. On the ARPA stuff and so forth. But this work through the Ohio Department of Development is for demolition, and this is a big deal here. A lot of dilapidated structures in our two counties. Sometimes the property owners don't have the money to tear it down, don't want to tear it down. In Jackson County, there's a pretty long list of projects 46 of them, I believe, most of them involving residential property, but some commercial property as well. And those are the ones that people know the most about. One of the structures that will be torn down with this money, by the way, the money has not been released. It's been granted. It's coming. It's in the pipeline.
Okay.
But so this isn't happening tomorrow, but it should be happening for sure. The Louvie Theater in Wellston, of course, is one of the headliners here. There it is, of course. Building goes back into the 1930s in Wellston. There was an effort earlier this year to perhaps resurrect it after it looked like it was going to be demolished for sure. That plan fell through just because of a lack of funding.
Yes.
And now it was put back on the demolition list. And I know that is high on Mayor Charlie Hudson's list for demolition.
It's so bitter. Like it's just
it's a bittersweet thing.
Yeah.
Every time we post something or we run a story, there's the nostalgia comes out.
Of course,
couldn't we
all
save it or
remember
whatever?
going to see a movie there or a concert or something.
Right. The same thing happened with the Marquet Theater in Jackson. It was able to be saved, but remember, it was about $1 million deal to resurrect the Marquet, deal. And so that's the issue there. But so the Louvie Theater in downtown Wellston will be demolished. That's one of the structures. Another structure that will be demolished in Jackson is a structure, the old Bell Bond building at 369 Portsmouth Street in Jackson. There it is. Very familiar. It sat right next to the old Michael's Ice Cream building across from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. And that building, not in very good shape. Michael's, of course, was recently torn down.
Yes.
And now this building will also be torn down. Those are just two of the buildings, commercial buildings in Jackson County that will be torn down. There's a total of about 6. Of course, one of them is the old pool hall in Wellston, the King's Pool Hall. They're on 2nd Street. We've talked a lot about that.
Okay.
Because, part of the wall in the back fell down.
Yes, it did.
There was concern about that. They did recently determine that it was not in danger of falling down more than what it already has. And so they're not going to try to fast track a demolition.
Okay.
Mayor Hudson was talking about going ahead and doing the demolition before the grant funding was approved or released. Now he knows he can wait on that money to come in and then go forward with the project. In Benton County, there's a number of projects too, about 14 projects, I believe, up there. 3 of them are old commercial buildings, a couple of old grocery stores in Zaleski and Ray.
Okay.
And then another structure that is called the Old Hamden Crossing Bar on State Route 93, just north of Hamden. Used to be a restaurant. Not all that long ago.
I know what you're talking. Jamie and I were just having a
I think it was
discussion
called
about
the
that
Junction,
place.
maybe.
Yeah, it was a million different things all at one time.
Right. Well, that building is going to be torn down as part of the Benton County project. So, we talked with Terry Featherhoff, the Benton County Development Director there. Once again, she does say that, they can't go forward until they receive the money because, they're going to work with contractors to do the work. They're going to need money to proceed. So it's been a long wait for the grant funding to be released. All along in Jackson and Benton counties, the people who are driving this, the Land Bank in Jackson County, the Development Department in Benton County, knew that the money would probably be there. It was just it being released through the state,
that official,
and then actually getting the money.
Announcement.
That's the next step.
Sure.
And then you bid it out and all like that. So it takes a while. The wheels of justice grind slowly, and the wheels of government can grind slowly as well.
True.
So, but that is coming up. Okay, at the last Wellston City Council meeting, the City Code Enforcement Director, Ryan Pelletier, of course, we've had him on here talking about the Boy Scouts, but he's also the Wellston Fire Chief. He's also the Code Enforcement Director. A lot of hats.
He has Ryan a lot of hats that he wears, yes.
Exactly. Well, he wanted to remind everybody that the next required mowing is going on in Wellston.
Okay.
Because of his position and the code enforcement department now in the city of Wellston, they really are paying a lot of attention to properties and the way they're being kept up to make Wellston an overall more attractive place, which will help everybody, of course.
Sure.
It'll help property values in neighborhoods and adjoining properties, and just make the town more attractive to people who might live there and people who live there now.
Yeah.
And so the next mowing, there's 4 mowings that have to be done. The city of Jackson has similar rules as well. But if you let your grass get too high, you
Don't do that.
you are subject to having the city come in and mow it themselves, and they'll charge you for it.
Yes.
It will be more than the neighbor boy would charge.
Exactly.
So
find the sweet neighbor boy to mow your grass.
the
for you.
deadline for the third required mowing in Wellston is Sunday, July 17th at midnight. And that is when, if you've already, received your warning, if you don't get it done, the city will cut your grass and weeds up to an expense of $250 per incident. And, that can vary depending on how big, the property is that they have to mow, but it could cost that much. Also, the code enforcement officer, Ryan Pelletier, provided information about his inspection of rental properties. Sometimes landlords don't keep up their properties very well, and there's a lot of concern about the houses and apartments that people live in. So this is another thing that he is doing through the code enforcement department in Wellston. He's inspecting these properties, and no doubt it has caused some landlords and property owners to do things to their properties to improve them, rather than getting written up and told that, you have to do this and this. But so far, he has done 75 inspections, and only 4 have failed their inspections.
Oh, okay.
And this isn't, to have pristine property. It's just that it's safe for somebody to live in, the minimum standards.
Sure.
There are a total of 250 rental properties that Pelletier is checking out, so he will be remaining busy with that.
That's a lot.
All right. Some other things going on. This comes from the Buckeye Hills Career Center. Not too long ago, last week, as a matter, United States Senator Rob Portman was there at the university, or at Buckeye Hills Career Center.
Yeah.
And the reason that he was there was to talk about his Jobs Act. He was there to promote career and technical education in Ohio, and also to promote the bipartisan Jumpstart Our Ohio Businesses by supporting the Students' Jobs Act. So that's kind of technical, but it's all about this new emphasis on career education and how it can practically lead to a job. That picture there on the right is United States Senator Rob Portman. On the left is the Buckeye Hills Career Center superintendent of the vocational program there, Jamie Nash, and he has really been gung-ho and a real advocate and force in improving the image of the vocational school, Buckeye Hills Career Center, and making the home schools and all students realize the opportunities that are there at the vocational school and how they can lead directly to jobs. And he's aligning the curriculum and increasing the curriculum to respond to the needs in today's jobs market.
That's
And,
right.
the bottom line is, you don't have to go to college to find a good job. You really don't.
No, you sure don't. And we have some wonderful vocational schools and trade schools here, Buckeye Hills being certainly one of them, that the kids have that opportunity as well to graduate with a career.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
But this will be one of the stories that we'll be reporting on here in the near future. Phil Buffington was down there covering that, Senator Portman's appearance down there. And then also James Hamilton went down there to do some video work as well. So we've got that coverage coming. Okay, Jennifer, you hear so much about green energy.
Sure.
And there was a gentleman from Paulding County named Tony Zartman who visited both the Jackson County Commissioners and the Vinton County Commissioners' offices last week when the commissioners had their weekly meetings in both counties. And Zartman, who was a former Paulding County Commissioner, so he knows what the commissioners are dealing with.
Gotcha.
He was there as part of a outfit called, he is the Director of Programs and Operations for Land and Liberty Coalition. And what it is, this is a private group that works with local governments to make them more aware of green energy opportunities. We're talking about wind energy, solar power. We're hearing more about solar power in our local area. We have 2 different projects proposed in Jackson County. We have one that's been approved in Benton County that would be near Zaleski that has not been built yet. Construction held up for some reason. It hadn't started. But at least 3 solar projects that we know of that are proposed and could happen. One in Benton County, 2 in Jackson County, and another one talked about in Jackson County, speculatively at least. So he talked about how this can be good, not just from a green energy standpoint, and all what you hear about climate and clean energy and like that. It is another source of revenue too, because a source of revenue comes in because of the use of the land and so forth.
Right.
And the truth is that farmland, agriculture land, land out in the county can be worth a lot more with this type of energy than if it just sits there, or even if it's used for farming. Some of the people in the farming communities are worried about the loss of farmland or whatever.
Right.
But, once again, this is a source of income for the people who own those lands and so forth. And he used the example of his home county, Paulding County, where he'd been a county commissioner. They had some concerns about the county budget. They had concerns about proper school funding, and that has changed all the way around because of solar and wind power is in Paulding County. Paulding County is a long way from Jackson County.
I was going to say, where is that?
It's in northwest Ohio,
Okay.
Up towards Toledo. But it's a small county about the size of Jackson County. And he says that they have turned their county around. Some farmland has been lost, but it's brought income not only to the property owner, who leased or sold their land,
Right.
but also to the local governments.
Right.
And so
and schools.
he made the commissioners more aware of that. And anytime that you have one of these things, whether it's direct property tax or it's in payment in lieu of taxes, the biggest benefactor are the schools.
Absolutely.
Because that is the way that Ohio is set up, with property tax being a key component of revenue for the schools.
Yep.
So, what's coming up this weekend? The Jackson County Fair.
You can bet on the ponies, Pete.
I know that'll be the first thing, and we're going to have our man Jeremiah, who's standing in for James Hamilton today.
He's
Wrote
here.
a very nice story for us about the fair. It'll be in our Wednesday edition, but it'll be A to Z, kind of covering what's going on.
Love it.
The programming, the entertainment, the price of admission, some of the improvements on the fairgrounds. That story is going to cover it all. But, a lot of folks kind of look forward to the entertainment part. And the first attraction at the fair, the full fair doesn't really kick in until Monday. But there's activities starting on Thursday, and it starts with harness racing.
It does.
Harness racing is both on Thursday and on Friday evening at 7 o'clock. And the harness racing will be from the Southern Ohio Colt Circuit on Thursday and Friday night. Right now, the weather forecast is looking good. That's always a big thing on the harness racing. You have pari-mutuel wagering.
That's right.
And for the same reason that people like to buy lottery tickets, they like to bet on the ponies. And this is, you don't have to go to Scioto Downs or someplace to do it. You can just drive right up the road to Wellston and do that.
All right. So we've never asked Jeremiah, so I do this poll every year, okay? Jeremiah, when you go to bet on the ponies, how do you choose the winner?
I've never bet on pony. I've never been actually during the fair during harness racing before.
Mine is you bet on the horse with the jockey has the prettiest outfit.
Okay.
What do you do, Pete?
It would be if the name is catchy to me.
Oh,
The name?
I think that's what I would go with.
Dad always said he went with the horse with the longest legs.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. But the harness racing.
Well, you think about your strategy and let us know.
Oh, okay. And what was yours? Yours was the prettiest outfit.
Prettiest
right?
outfit.
By the
yes.
jockey. Okay.
Yes.
All right. But anyway, the racing will be at 6 p.m. both of those evenings. That's when the racing will start. The cost to enter the fairgrounds will be $5 per person, and you can get the programs, which has some information about each race. And you can. That's a scientific.
I mean, if you want to be scientific and read
that's
about each sport,
that's a scientific way.
fine,
It has the records of the horses and all like that, where they're from and
Whatever.
who the races are. Those cost $3. And Chris Walls, who is a fair board member and he kind of oversees the harness racing, he provided some information to our sports editor Todd Compston, and we'll have a separate story in Wednesday's edition about the harness racing.
Okay.
But once again, that will be on Thursday and Friday.
Come up with your own strategy.
On Thursday and Friday evening. But some of the highlights of the fair, as we look, beyond that, you will talk more about that next week.
Sure.
But the full fair kicks in on Monday. All the rides will be going there, and everything will be open by then. But there will be some activities after the harness racing on Thursday and Friday. There will be some activities on both Saturday and Sunday at the fairgrounds, including the opening fair ceremony, which will be at 4 p.m. on Sunday. That is when the new queen and court, who've already been named, will be officially crowned, and there'll be other announcements there, announcements of scholarships and so forth. There'll be entertainment spread throughout the schedule, including on the weekend. For instance, there'll be a greased pig contest on Saturday evening. There will be a baby contest earlier in the day on Saturday. On Sunday, there'll be a performance by the Rock House Band that will follow the opening fair ceremony. There will also be one of the big events, a truck and tractor pull on Sunday evening, as the fair board tries to kind of like stretch out and have something interesting to draw people in each day. Admission for the fair will vary depending on the day of the fair and what's going on. One of the days it will be free, but on other days it could be $5. Most days it will be $10 for the fair, but that includes everything.
That's your rides and everything.
When you go in,
Yep.
when you go in, that covers everything, including the grandstand entertainment.
Yep.
But some of the special events this year that you can look forward to, one of the new things that receiving a lot of publicity is a micro wrestling program.
It is.
This is wrestling. The wrestlers are all 5 feet tall or shorter, and they will wrestle each other. And wrestling is very popular, and this is a special kind of wrestling, obviously. And they are selling ringside seats. It doesn't cost extra to go to the wrestling thing, but if you want a ringside seat, and there's already been some good sales for that, you can pay for premium seating at the micro wrestling, which will be on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Not this Wednesday evening, but the full fair week.
Yeah, the 20th.
On the 20th, correct.
All right, Jeremiah has something to say.
I just noticed the slides that keep running in the background here for the Jackson County Fair, and the ones that I have pulled here, the dates for the fair is wrong on here. So anybody watching this, the Jackson County Fair is July 14th through the 23rd. And on the slide, it's got 14th through the 25th.
Oh,
so it does not run through Monday the 25th, just for anybody that's watching.
Nope,
if you're listening,
right.
You can't see this, but
good point.
Just be aware. I don't know if this is something they made or maybe James made, but we'll have to see if we can get them fixed.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. The fair always ends on Saturday, and it will start, as I said, with the harness racing and all the rides and everything. It will be full bore on Monday, but there's things starting as early as Thursday.
For sure.
And officially, the fair starts on July 14th, which is the first night of the harness racing. But some of the other big attractions, we'll talk more about. The Diamond J Rodeo will be on Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. The micro wrestling, as we said, will be at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. The Brent Jenkins Memorial Demolition Derby, always popular Demolition Derby, will be the closing act of the fair on Saturday evening at 6 p.m.
That is wild.
Right, right. And of course, on the junior fair side, on that end of the fairgrounds, you'll have all the animal shows going on. And it will all culminate with the Junior Fair Livestock Auction, which will start at 3 p.m. on Friday, the 22nd.
That's right. I feel like they're starting that a little earlier than they have.
Well, it's been 3 or 4 years now that they moved it up to 3 o'clock. And it takes so long to go through all the animals that, Jeremiah and I have covered the fair for some time. And, I've left there after midnight.
Oh,
before.
for sure.
So,
Definitely.
that's a long time for everybody.
Yeah.
So, instead of starting at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, they're starting at 3 o'clock. And that's
Makes
been going
sense.
on for a number of years now.
Okay.
And they have been able to successfully have a very good auction, but move it along a little quicker maybe than they have in past years. So, but the livestock sale is something, if you're interested in buying an animal, of course you don't have to attend the whole livestock sale unless you're trying to target a certain animal. They run them in order. Don't know what the order of sale is this year, but they always rotate every year. But they'll sell all this one type of animal and then go to the next animal and whatever. So you can really go when it's convenient for you, unless you're looking to buy a certain animal,
Yeah.
by a certain
I have
that was raised by a certain kid.
the order this year: chickens, turkeys, rabbits, beef feeders, lambs, goats, dairy market feeders, dairy steers, and hogs.
Okay, there you go. And we will be repeating that, on TV and on the radio as well.
Yep.
There has been some major improvements at the fairgrounds. We'll talk about that another time too, because we got a lot of other news to get through. But the big improvements were a complete redo of the 4-H building. They didn't tear it down and start all over, but it was close to it. They put on a new roof. They put on a new metal roof. They put on new metal siding. Improvements to the interior. They built a storage room inside. They improved the kitchen. New ceiling, new walls. It's just it is probably about a $100,000 deal right
Nice.
there, close to a $100,000 deal, $90,000 to $100,000 conservatively. And that building goes back to at least the 1990s, and so it was time
Yeah.
for a major facelift. They also have put a new roof on the horse racing barn.
Okay.
That is on that end of the fairgrounds. And so one of the reasons they were able to do the 4-H building, or do the whole project, at least they were planning on doing this anyway, but they got $40,000 in capital money from the
Nice.
state capital budget. And according to Chris Walls, that allowed them to do everything this year, and they just finished up. It's all done.
Good.
They were rushing to get it done for the fair, and you will see, instead of a light green building, a dark green building. So
Okay.
it looks a little bit different too, but same shape and in the same place. So you definitely want to stop off
Love
and see that. All right, some other things to let you know about, Jennifer. Want to tell you about a major improvement that took place on State Route 93, just south of Jackson, just before you get to South View School, between Standpipe Road and 4 Mile Road. Anyone who travels that road knows that railroad crossing is bumpy. Talk
man.
about an unofficial speed bump there.
If you don't hit that thing just right, you can lose your car easy.
No, people who know really slow down, or they look for the least bumpy
I've
part
got-
of that crossing.
If I've found if you go about 1 or 2 feet to the right to
Mhm.
cross it, that you normally would cross it, you're good. But if you misjudge, boy, oh boy, bad.
Talk about maybe a tire alignment job
Oh.
that you're going to have to do, or no, maybe worse,
it's
maybe lose a tire.
horrible.
But the Ohio South Central Railroad, it's their responsibility. It's the railroad company. It's not ODOT. It's not the city. It's not the county.
Uh-huh.
They are the ones who had the work done, and this was a very welcome project. It closed State Route 93 at that location yesterday. They did get the work done by the end of the day. That route, I'm told, is now open.
Well, that was fast.
Exactly. There will be another major railroad crossing project. There's been, they periodically, they are always improving these crossings, repairing them. But another one that will really affect traffic, but will also be welcome, will take place right here in the city of Jackson at the crossing on State Route 93, which is the same as East Main Street, in the block between Huron Street and South Street, there at People's Bank, and right next to the Park Edge Event Center.
Okay.
That crossing is a little rough too. Now, traffic isn't going through there as fast as it is on the highway, but that crossing will be repaired next week, and that's going to be a major deal to work there. And of course, that's city traffic as well, but they expect that crossing to be closed for 7 days starting
Ooh.
next Monday, July the 18th.
Oof.
So, you can still get into those businesses. You just can't drive through while that crossing is closed.
Okay.
But I'm sure that the access to the businesses will be there. But
You
you
just
can
have to be strategic.
it's going to be from one
with your
direction or the
planning.
other. If you're familiar with Jackson, and you know where that crossing is. You know what direction you need to
Yeah.
come from to get to certain businesses, and you have to drive around if you're driving through. But that will take place starting on Monday, July the 18th, and it could take up to 7 days. It's expected to be reopened by the end of the day, the following Monday, July the 25th.
Okay.
Also, another project that's taking place in that same area involves a manhole on East Main Street, very near Wendy's and Walgreens. This is a City of Jackson project. And what it's going to do, starting Thursday, it's going to close that center lane of traffic there on that part of East Main Street. And that's a big deal, too, because you have people, turning onto South Street or getting in that lane to turn into Wendy's or whatever. And you won't be able to use the center lane for a period of probably 4 days, starting Thursday and going through Sunday, July the 17th.
Okay.
So you'll have the center lane traffic there near the intersection of Main and South Street on Main Street affected. Then the following week, starting on Monday, the railroad crossing work will take place.
Okay.
So, we'll have all this, in the newspaper, on the website, on Facebook, but we wanted to tell our television audience about that as well.
Very good.
All right, and do not forget, we have the special primary election coming up on August the 2nd that involves just the position, and this is a statewide primary, so this is good for both Jackson and Vinton counties. August the 2nd, Tuesday, August the 2nd, nominations, Republican and Democrat, for state Senate, state representative, and state central committeeman, and that's all it is. And once again, that's because of all the problems getting the new legislative maps approved. That issue really isn't over, but they had to go forward at some point.
You mean trying to get the Republicans and Democrats to agree on something?
Right, exactly. And the court is saying, the maps aren't fair; they're gerrymandered. In other words, they're claiming that it's too much in favor of the Republicans, who have the majority on the redistricting commission.
Yep.
But that's another story. But the bottom line is that's why we're having a special primary election on the 2nd in both Jackson and Vinton counties, and in any county in Ohio. Absentee and early voting is already taking place.
Yes.
So these are important positions that represent us in the state legislature. And, for the people who are interested on the party level, also the people who represent the respective Republican and Democrat parties, Central Committee man, Central Committee women for the Senate districts that represent Jackson and Vinton counties, those positions are on there as well. And on the early voting, right now, extended hours at all the boards of elections. They open at 8 a.m., they close at 5 p.m.
Yes.
Later on, they'll extend to 7 p.m. on weekday evenings.
You
and
have plenty of time.
Then on the weekend before the election, we'll even be open on Saturday and Sunday for certain hours, all the way until 2 p.m. Monday. I believe is the last time that you can vote early.
Right.
And you can vote absentee, all through there. You need to request a ballot or pick one up at the Board of Elections.
Okay.
All right, some fun stuff that happened over the weekend and good stuff. There was a fundraiser called Christmas in July that took place at Manpower Park.
All right.
And they had some weather issues. Weren't sure they were going to be able to get it in. There was a little bit of rain, but it didn't ruin it. They were able to do it. Mostly it was just cloudy. But the Apple City Motorcycle Club and Jaffe, who both have Christmas projects, decided to join together.
That's so good.
Two is better than one.
Love it.
And they had a cruise in, they had a motorcycle ride, and they had a Jeep ride. And on the cruise in side, first place went to Joe Wyant.
Yes.
Of course, we know Joe, the main officer there at the Ohio Valley Bank branch in Jackson. And that is his 1973 Dodge Charger. Ain't that a beaut?
Yes.
It took first place, and he's got the red shirt on because he is a former Apple Festival president and, of course, a very active member of Jaffe as well.
Yes.
In Saturday's paper, we'll have a report, on this fundraising event, along with some pictures of some of the other winners in the judging for the cruise in and the motorcycle ride and the Jeep ride. The way it turned out, there was not a Jeep ride, but they did have a Jeep judging contest.
Cool.
So we'll tell
And
you.
it's all for the kids, right?
Right. This raises money so they can buy Christmas gifts for needy families at Christmas. And they work with the other groups that do similar projects, like the Gear Grinders here in Jackson, the fire department in Wellston, to see that it gets spread out and that, one family in need doesn't get, 4 bags of Christmas gifts and another that gets left out totally. I think this project in particular works with the city school district in throughout the counties, the city school districts, to find out where the need is. And so this was the major fundraiser called Christmas in July at Manpower Park. But it was a great event, good attendance there, good participation. And Jaffe, the Jaffe members in the Apple City Motorcycle Club gave up a lot of time to make that happen this weekend. Same time over in Wellston, or not too far from Wellston, they had the Christmas in July event, also called Christmas in July, at Lake Alma State Park, which is actually in Benton County, but it's near Wellston. And one of the big things there was that Santa Claus came late in the day. Santa Claus came.
Santa was there.
Santa was there. It was the Wellston Lions Club Santa who was there,
Nice.
dressed in summer gear, not in the old Santa Claus suit.
I would say it's a little hot for him to be wearing all that.
Santa met the kids. And they had a decorated bike contest. They had a cute kid contest. They had a fishing derby, and this was done by the Friends of Lake Alma, and this raised money for a good cause as well. It not only brought attention to Lake Alma, of course, which is a beautiful place,
It is.
very
It's
popular with
lovely.
the campers. What it did was it raises money for projects at Lake Alma that the state isn't able to do on its own. It's just like the support clubs for the athletic programs at the schools. The schools can only do so much, and the support clubs allow you to do the extras. And that's what the Friends of Lake Alma is all about.
Yes.
And so I know that they had a lot of participation there, and they had a good day there as well, too. Red Thompson Jr. showed up to meet Santa Claus late in the evening, and we'll have some coverage on that in our Saturday paper as well. We want to give congratulations to to a Jackson High School alumna and a 2018 Jackson High School graduate, Allison Bragg. Allison graduated from the United States Air Force Academy. So that is a great achievement.
Yes.
She graduated the last weekend in May, and there is Allison on the right with her proud parents,
That's
Tom and
amazing.
Kathy Bragg. And she was in the band at Jackson High School. Of course, a great student you have to be to get into one of the military academies. But she made it through 4 years there. Of course, 3/4 of the cadets are men, but didn't stop her. She made it through. She will now be stationed at an Air Force base in the state of Washington at Olympia.
Okay.
And so congratulations to Allison. We'll have coverage of that in the paper as well.
it.
All right, this past weekend, actually last Thursday at the Marquet Cultural Arts Center, there was a new exhibit that opened there
Yes.
with Ethan Michael and Dustin Herbert.
Yep.
They are both artists. There they are together.
I
there.
love that picture. It's just so them.
Right. Ethan on the left and Dustin on the right. And there was, in addition to people being able to see their art, Dustin is a photographer, and Ethan does woodworking art.
Yes.
The wood
burning.
The wood burning on the art. And Ethan Michael and his son and some others sang.
They did.
So they had what they called CART. It was a concert with art. They called it CART.
We came up with that on the show.
Well, that was good. I didn't know. I didn't know that. But James wrote a nice story on that. Of course, he's on the Southern Hills Arts Council board. Wrote a nice story, so we have some coverage in this Wednesday's paper.
Yes.
Their exhibits, Ethan Michael and Dustin Herbert, there they are performing there.
Yes.
They had a concert there in the auditorium, and then they debuted their artwork as well. The Marquet is open, free to the public. You can see all the art there from the Michael and Herbert exhibits. 12
Love
to
it.
5 p.m. Tuesday through Friday. Volunteers will be there to let you in and see the art, once again, free of charge. All right, we want to tip our hat to some students at the Buckeye Hills Career Center. They went to a national contest. Jeremiah covered this for us. He didn't go to the national contest in Atlanta, but he got with the students
Well, why
afterwards.
didn't you, Jeremiah?
it wasn't in the budget.
Okay.
But he did the next best thing. He got the information for us. We got a news release to Buckeye Hills Career Center.
Yes.
He went out and talked to some of the students, and we'll have that story coming in the paper this Saturday as well, we hope. But we had some national champions. There on the right is Olivia Haggerty. She won a gold medal, which made her a national champion. And there in the left-hand picture, you have Skills USA advisor Sue Burleson, and then Buckeye Hills Career Center students Daniel Pretty and Emily Scott. They both were selected as models of excellence and each also won a gold medal at the Skills USA National Leadership and Skills Conference in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice.
So this took place June 20th to 24th. Of course, they did very well at the regional level. They did great at the state level. They qualified for this national competition, and to go anywhere
Oh my goodness.
and win the gold medal or win first place in national competition is just fantastic. So we wanted to spotlight these students, and we will have that coverage in Saturday's paper. We thank Jeremiah for tracking that down and actually taking that story one step further by talking to the students. So that coverage coming in Saturday's paper.
Awesome.
All right, we want to let you know that another wonderful thing for the community is about to unfold. We'll have to wait just a little bit longer. The new floor at the Jackson Area YMCA.
Yay.
And you know how that happened. It was a great effort by Tim Harvey and his staff to want to undertake this because it cost a lot of money.
It does.
You know, they got a lot of donations, and then they got a big lift from the county commissioners when they allocated some of the ARPA money because they felt that this would benefit the public and the community.
For sure.
That helped it get it over the top. Well, in recent weeks, they have been actually laying that floor. They thought that it might even be open this past weekend, but they're going to need another 7 days. On Sunday, the YMCA announced that it would be 7 more days before the floor would be ready for use. The floor company has to apply another coat of chemicals. When this is done and, you know, it's dried and everything, it will be open.
Okay.
And one of the big events that they're going to have, the first major event, is a 3-on-3 basketball tournament the weekend of July the 30th. And it will start at 12 p.m. It's $100 per team. And not only is it celebratory because it's the first major event, this is a fundraiser to not only celebrate the floor, but also improve facilities and equipment at the YMCA
Wow, look how
that
nice
are
that
in
is.
connection with the floor. And thanks, Jeremiah, for putting that picture up. Doesn't that look nice?
Yes.
And they're working on the finishing touches of that floor, as we speak.
Great.
Another week, and it should be ready to go. Even if you're not a Y member, stop by and see the floor. Maybe that will incentivize some people to become members because they are very community oriented. We can't say this enough. Sometimes you get the image YMCA private country club. Our YMCA is not that way. It's for everybody.
Yes.
They try to be very inclusive. They try to do scholarships and other ways to allow participation and use of the floor. They have major public events there that don't have anything directly to do with the Y. It's been a polling place for the Board of Elections, et cetera. So anyway, a big thing for the YMCA. That floor will be done very soon.
Awesome.
All right. We also want to tell you, speaking of the Board of Elections, this happened at the last meeting of the Jackson City Board of Education, Jennifer. The school board was approached about the school being used, the field house, as a polling place. Now, this happened before, and the school wasn't ready to do it. There was the COVID going on and so forth. But the Board of Elections asked again, and in 2023, it appears that the voting polling places in the Jackson area are going to go to the Jackson High School Fieldhouse. The Board of Education, at its most recent meeting, approved this to happen. Superintendent Phil Howard is on board as well, because
Okay.
he's very big about the fact that the facilities belong to the public. So this will, of course, a lot of parking there, that will help.
Yes.
And we can't say for sure what polling places will change, but I'm guessing that for sure the folks who vote at the Jackson area YMCA now will be going to the field house of the high school, not on August the 2nd, not on November the 8th this year, but next year is when it will be changed.
And if you want to get a workout, Pete, you could walk to the polling place
Mhm.
up the hill,
Mhm.
and you will be, it's like double. You could get your workout and vote all at the same time.
Right. And, I'm expecting the Board of Elections also to make requests to the Wellston and Oak Hill school districts as well. I know they did that already
Yes.
too, and it's being discussed. So we'll see what happens there. But it looks like for sure the polling places in the Jackson area are going to switch to the field house at Jackson High School.
Okay.
All right. Another thing that we want to tell you about is has to do with the veteran service. Tim Reed, who is the veteran service officer in Vinton County, he sat down with R. Red Thompson and talked about the importance of the VA Medical Center in Chillicothe staying open.
Yes.
He provided some figures on how that has, what a big impact that has on Vinton County. And listen to these figures. I threw these out before, but he talked about just Vinton County. There's 833 veterans in Vinton County and a population of about 13,000 plus.
Okay.
Uh,
Wow.
there was a total of $7.8 million spent at the VA in medical care from Vinton County residents. $7.8 million a year in 2021. So you
Man.
can see the impact that has in Vinton County. If the VA was not there and they switched to some outpatient and some of the more acute care and many of the medical services would no longer be available at Chillicothe, they'd have to go to Columbus, they'd have to go to Dayton, they'd have to go to Cincinnati. Some of those, it would be not as convenient, it would be much more expensive. The truth is, some of the veterans may not make that trip. And, that is one of the benefits they have. They don't have that benefit if they go to another hospital, a private hospital.
Right.
So this was a big thing. We talked about this before, Jennifer. This was a secondary thing, but this would have been huge too. If that facility would have been closed, 1,400 jobs there. Not only
That's
in
a
Ross
lot.
County, but, people from Jackson County and Vinton
for
County
sure.
work there. Good government jobs.
Yes.
And the impact, the ripple effect that this would have had on the community would have been huge.
Mm.
But of course, if you weren't paying attention last week when this news broke, a group of bipartisan senators led by United States Senator from Ohio, a Democrat, Sherrod Brown, found a way to kind of circumvent the lobbying process where they basically, the senators, the United States Senate, before this was final, before these recommendations from the VA were final, the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, the Senate would have to nominate the commission members who are making this recommendation, which seems like a formality. Well, they're just not going to nominate them. So the commission won't exist to make these recommendations stick. So,
See, outside the box thinking. I like it.
Right. It was very ingenious, but the bottom line is that wouldn't be happening if this group of bipartisan senators and the Senate as a whole, and maybe even the administration in Washington, wasn't favorable to this.
Yes.
But it was really going to be an uphill battle because even though to us here in South Central and Southeastern Ohio, why would you want to close that facility and have people drive that far when you're trying to do an overall plan to improve veterans' health care in the county? Why would you do that? Well, there were 3 veterans hospitals that were going to close, including the one in Chillicothe. Well, they were going to build a lot of others and improve a lot of others. So they would be losing all these good things across the country. So you can't pick one thing out and eliminate it. It was one package. It was up or down. And for Sherrod Brown, and I have to give him credit for being the main guy making it happen. Rob Portman was on board as well,
Yes.
a Republican senator. Other senators, both Republican and Democrat, were. all that would not have happened if you didn't have these forums that took place in both Jackson and Vinton counties. The veterans came out and spoke.
People were very passionate about it.
Local officials got involved. They got on the bandwagon too. And so, if you don't have this happening, if you don't rattle some chains, if you don't let the democratic and the political process work, there's going to be results that you don't want. So
absolutely,
this was a case where I think, frankly, for our area, this was a bad idea. There's no doubt about that.
Oh,
it might have been good in the long run for everybody, but here in South Central and Southeastern Ohio, it was bad. But the people spoke up. Senator Brown, in particular, showed leadership at the federal level, and now this is not going to happen. Now, Arnold Tripp, who is the Veteran Service Officer in Jackson County, he is keeping a wary eye out because things can happen in any federal budget. They can make changes, they can make proposals, and people within the VA, some people within the VA thought that this was a good thing to do overall. So it could come back on the table sometime.
Okay.
So we'll have to be very vigilant about that.
Okay.
So there we are, Jennifer. We went through the news, and we've got about 4 minutes to spare.
Hey, there you go.
You got any jokes?
I only have one joke, and I've told it a million times here on the program.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hear it?
I haven't heard it.
You haven't?
I don't think so. If I have, I'll laugh again.
Okay. This is my only joke that I ever remember. What did the skeleton say when he walked into the bar?
I don't know.
Jeremiah, do you know? Can I have a beer and a mop?
Can I have a beer and a mop?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there.
So if a skeleton drank a beer, where would it go?
Oh, on the floor. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. You made me think too hard early on a Tuesday morning, but that's good.
All right. Anybody else have a joke? Oh, Jeremiah does.
So I heard one the other day.
Okay.
It's kind of like a joke, I guess, of sorts. But I heard that the company that makes yardsticks aren't going to make them any longer. So it's kind of a bit of news. Do you get it?
I do.
They're not going to make
Not
them
gonna make them
longer.
any longer.
Yeah. Because it's only a yard. I sent that one to a friend of mine, and he called and was like, "What?" I had to explain it to him.
I got it.
It takes a minute, doesn't it?
It does.
But
dad joke, I guess.
That's a dad joke for sure. Where's Brittany when you need her? Speaking of, Brittany made me a funny card for my birthday. We have to show it. Here. Oh, Jeremiah's got it.
the Horse Queen rides again.
I guess. It's got me on a horse with a 6 cents beer and Marley.
The dog. Marley's your retriever, right?
Yes, she is. She's my girl.
Well, happy birthday, Jennifer.
Hey, thanks. It was like several days ago
You
now.
don't look a day older than 30.
Aw, thanks, Pete. I know I love you for a reason. He's so full of it.
No, we'll do a poll with them, the TV audience, see what they think.
Okay, yeah, right. So what is your... Okay, here's a good one. We've got like a minute left. What is your favorite Jackson County Fair food?
That's easy. I go to the Jackson Cattlemen's Club and I get a steak sandwich.
Dang it!
Is that yours too?
Yes. I mean, amongst all the, I guess, you could say elephant ear or something like that, but I always hit the Cattlemen's Club. Love it.
There probably isn't a place that I wouldn't stop and enjoy it. So
Exactly.
But the Cattlemen's Club steak sandwich, I like.
Same, absolutely. What about you, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I like getting a sandwich from the cattlemen's back there. I usually take some money with me when I'm back there for a show or something, and I always get something from the cattlemen's.
Yeah, it's so good. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's by the Livestock Arena, and they literally stand out and man the grill all day long. So they're cooking stuff up fresh all the time. They have ribeye steak sandwiches, they have burgers, hot dogs. All of that stuff is really good.
Right, and there's a lot of local vendors up there as
There
well
are.
as
Yes.
the concessionaires that come in from the outside with the carnival company, and so
Of course.
so it's not it's not the place you want to go if you're looking to lose a few pounds.
If you're
But
on
you
a
know,
diet-
it's only once a year, the fair.
It is. See, and that's the thing. You just got to kind of just go with it and be like, this is only 1 week a year, and I'm gonna treat myself a little bit.
Right. And we do want to say this. You know, we talked about the fair. It's so easy to take it for granted. A lot of work takes place throughout the year
It does.
to make it happen. And one of the ways that the fair board's trying to improve the fair is they're trying to use the grounds throughout the year and the camping facilities that are there that were expanded here a year or so ago to try to bring in some income. And here's one of those little indirect effects of having camping available. Remember when the pipeline workers were in Jackson County
Yes,
for a long
a long
time laying
time.
the new gas line? Well, a lot of them stayed at the fairgrounds
Oh.
multiple months. And some of that income from the camping allowed
Sure.
them to do some of those physical improvements this
Isn't
year.
that awesome?
Right. So, you know, it worked out.
Thank you.
But you know, we thank the veterans for their service. Thank the fair board members for their service too.
Absolutely. Definitely thankless.
Right, exactly. And, you know, they work all year round. It's particularly very hard from January on planning the fair.
It is.
They spend a lot of volunteer time up there working on the ground, something like that. There's not like there's a full-time fair staff. It's
Right.
not a full-time job. It's very much a dedication type thing. And about 21 members on the fair board, and, you know, their names are in the fair book. Thank them for what they
thank
do.
them when you see them.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Pete, thank you for spending the morning with us. We appreciate it.
Okay.
And as always, he's full of it, and we appreciate that. And when we say it, we mean news.
Okay. All right.
Uh-huh.
Well, thanks for the qualifying.
You got it.
Qualifying that.
I'm here for you, buddy. And
All
thank you, Jeremiah, for pushing all the right buttons as James is in a meeting this morning and could not be with us. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back here tomorrow morning. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you.